This is Comic Geek Speak, episode 1834, Previews. Welcome to Comic Geek Speak. I'm Ian Levinstein.
I'm Adam Murdo.
And right from 1975, I'm Chris Everly. Actually, I was born in 73, but I think that 7-Eleven cup was 75, Murd, so that was for you.
Nice. And Clea is actually relevant as there were solicitation announcements as to who the new Sorcerer Supreme is going to be. So that's we'll be.
Clea is always irrelevant to me.
Oh, of course, we'll be talking about that next previews, not in this one, but yes, it is indeed previews time here for all of you folks as we get to mid-month here in December. And what better time to go in there and give you guys your picks? Because I'm sure by the time Christmas time comes in another week or so, you're not going to be paying any attention to previews. So now is as good a time as any.
Yeah.
Busy season for all of us, to say the least.
And how?
Yep. Murd over at the barn, and I've got. I'm flying back to Orlando for the Christmas to New Year season. So. Let's see how that turns out. But before we get to any of that fun, exciting future events, we remind you folks that you guys, that's right, you, and you, and you, and you, and you, over at patreon.com/comicgeekspeak are the ones that keep the lights on the internet and in person. And we thank you guys so much for your continued support of the show. We would be nothing without your support. And as we approach the new year, we will have at least one more episode before we get to 2022. But we'd like to thank you all for another full year of support. And as previously stated on other episodes, we'll have to plan some sort of open Zoom for the new year at some point. Perhaps something similar to the anniversary spectacular, as I feel like it's been too long since we've done one of those. So that'll how we give back to you, the fans. TBD on that one, since, plans are nebulous and all that jazz. But patreon.com/comicgeekspeak, thank you so much. And if you'd like to old school donate over at the PayPal, that is still available to you at comicgeekspeak.com/donate.php. Or leave us an iTunes review. It can nerd. Why not? Tell us how we're doing. And tell your Aunt Sophie about us too, if you prefer. Either way.
Levy Pooh, what was great about that testimonial is that we got the full range. You start with like the low, smoky, almost soft bedroom voice, and then we ended with Borscht Belt. It was wonderful. God, I'm glad you're here.
It's the multiple ranges that I bring to the table, my friend. That's absolutely the way it rolls. Was closer to your folks' neck of the woods this last weekend, and I'll talk about it more on our next comic talk. But had a lovely weekend in Philadelphia for the PAX Unplugged gaming convention. I even had to email Matt at one point because everybody's wearing masks, everybody sort of like has like a half face going, and I swore I saw him in the crowd, and I'm like, hey Matt, were you there? And you're like, no, although I'm happy to see that I dressed so inconspicuous that I could be anywhere.
Yeah. Well, he showed up at the Christmas barn on Saturday, so there's his alibi.
Oh, nice.
He was not at all inconspicuous in his New England Patriots Christmas gear.
Nice. Well done. Well, happy to see he's somewhere. Somewhere.
He is without a doubt somewhere.
We'll have to have him back on the show sooner than later. Definitely.
Oh, yes, definitely.
All right, here we are with previews, and we are one preview away from a milestone.
Oh, look at that.
Issue 399 of previews for the December 2021 month, mostly for solicitations in the month of February.
And let me just say, Destro. Okay, that was for Shane.
Well, let's focus on the fact that previews is advertising a bust on its main cover rather than a comic book, which is not the norm. But
not at all. It is a significant observation. But there's a comic book.
Exactly, super massive, and we will get there when we get there, and that will be pretty soon because it's an image. But let's see what comes before then. And it is near the end of the year here, but solicitations for February, so we should be out of the Christmas comic book general theme of the last couple of months. It should just be comics.
Yeah, we'll be seeing a little bit of a Christmas design to some of the solicitations, but it's you're right that the content will have moved on.
Exactly.
Talking about love and romance now, since this is February, Valentine's Day season.
Well, let's start us off on page 34, shall we, with New Masters number 1 of 6, written by Shobo with art by Shof. 2019 Creators for Creators grant recipients, Nigerian brothers Shobo and Shof, presents New Masters, a groundbreaking blend of science fiction, adventure, drama, and vibrant Afrofuturism, and a striking vision of West Africa under the thumb of alien colonizers. A motley crew of outcasts find themselves caught up in a power struggle for control of an ancient artifact with immense power. Now,
and they say a sweeping sci-fi adventure for fans of Bitterroot and Saga, 2 books, of course, I admire.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's high praise right there.
And taking a look at the artwork, oof, love the rendering.
No, that's gorgeous.
Yep, almost like a dark Disney. I'd put it. Like maybe not quite Black Cauldron, because I think that's the darkest of Disney's, but I think they're
the Black Cauldron. Oh wow, thought about that in a long time.
Yeah, there's still 25 minutes of that movie sitting in a can somewhere that we'll probably never
really
see. Oh yeah.
Huh.
There's a great YouTube video that I'll hopefully link you to at some point, Chris, that talks about the sledgehammer that was taken to that movie after the first press, like the first screening, where press this button if you like, press this button if you don't like, and there were so many not likes that they basically just knocked out 25 minutes of darkness, which is why the movie itself makes such little sense, because all of that connective tissue is just ripped apart from the movie itself, which you can see actually in the graphic novel that was published at one point, that has a lot of that original Black Cauldron-ness in there. So it's fascinating.
Levy, I love when you dive deep.
I do my best.
But yeah, the artwork on this looks wonderful.
Oh yeah,
so
really like it. Yep, and nice to see newcomers as well. Yep. And then on the very next page, we get Rogue Sun number 1 on page 30.
So this is part of Image starting to create an expanded superhero universe.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Coming to you from Ryan Parrott, who has written a bunch of Power Rangers comics for Boom Studios.
So in some ways, a similar pedigree to Kyle Higgins, considering Kyle Higgins also took the Power Rangers route at one point.
Also true. And in fact, Mr. Higgins and Mr. Parrott are going to be collaborating. After a fashion. I mean, their work is going to be appearing under a single cover, as we'll see a little bit later on.
Mm-hmm. Yep. This one in particular, about a superhero set in New Orleans. I like to see superheroes not just set in New York. It makes me happy. And this is about a rebellious teenager named Dylan Siegel. I'm sure they chose Siegel for obvious reasons, and discovers that the rogue son was his estranged father, Marcus, and that he's inherited his father's mantle, tasked with protecting our world from the forces of the supernatural and solving his father's murder. Dylan will be forced to come to terms with the man he's spent the majority of his life hating. Fascinating concept. Completely in on that. 32 pages, out February 16th. Billed as a series premiere.
And lest we forget, next year is the 30th anniversary of Image.
Very good point. They're building their universes, definitely. As you said, Murd, this is them building their superhero universe, and the Spawn verse is also building. So it's a lot of building blocks for Image. Get some preview pages on the next couple of pages as well, and then onward we go to Cy Spurrier.
Hmm.
New 4-issue miniseries from him, Step by Bloody Step. Besides Spurrier, a name that we're all familiar with in one way or another.
Mm-hmm. Master of the weird and wonderful.
And Mateus Bergara of Coda, along with Mateus Lopez of Supergirl, present a watershed moment in modern comics. 4 double-length chapters of a bittersweet fantasy opus, completely text-free. Talk about how hard that is. So all artwork on page 42, and you get a preview of some of that artwork.
Oh, it's stunning. Woo!
Absolutely gorgeous. If this doesn't win an Eisner for artwork alone, that would surprise the heck out of me. That is very, very pretty stuff.
By the way, Murd, your chair looks both majestic and comfortable.
Well, thank you, sir. It's on loan from my mother. This is actually her desk at which I'm sitting.
Here's a question, gentlemen. Since when does Top Cow is Top Cow back with Image?
I'm out of it. I'm the wrong guy to ask.
Yeah, I usually we see them solicited on their own in one way or another, but here's Top Cow, the Clay People Colossus, a one shot, and it's straight up Top Cow right there on the top.
Maybe they're rejoining the fold for the anniversary.
Good point. Very good point. This one's about a biracial boy in the Midwest who uses a supernatural gift from his grandfather to push back against 2 older boys who are terrorizing him. And a tale inspired by the song Colossus by the heavy metal band, the Clay People. And written by Matt Hawkins, art by Christian DiBari on page 46 there.
This is interesting.
Yes, indeed. Official Image timeline. Designed and written by Jim Valentino. As you mentioned, Murd, with the anniversary coming, this makes perfect sense. Details the company's history in the single most comprehensive chronology of the company ever published.
And I've said this many times, and I'll say it again because it's their anniversary, but for me, Image is the most exciting company in comics. It has been for quite some time. I mean, I was not really a fan of a lot of their early work back in the 90s, but the work they've been producing past, at least, 10 years or more now, 15 maybe, is just some of the most exciting comics out there. And again, what I always come back to is the fact that just like in the beginning of the American comic book, they touch upon every genre you can imagine in terms of stories they're telling. So again, for Image, I think it's the ideal gateway for someone to read comics because there's something for literally for everybody.
Oh, absolutely.
In terms of what they offer. So,
yep.
Salute.
You like superheroes? They got superheroes. You like sci-fi? They got sci-fi. Fantasy, it's there for you too. And plenty of there. Yep. And here's a facsimile edition. Page 48 for all you
this screams the pair of Image I have very little interest in.
Had to mention it almost for that. The issue that started it all. I don't know exactly what it started, but
it all.
I'm sorry. How could I forget? The first issue of Prophet reimagined and resolicited here. Rob Liefeld with Dan Panosian on artwork. And a very, very Rob Liefeld cover on page 48. And then on the very next page, something I'm way more interested in. Cinna Grace had an excellent Iceman run a couple of years ago. It was right after Iceman came out of the closet in X-Men comics. And Cinna Grace wrote an ongoing series of Iceman. I think actually technically 2 volumes because there was 1 volume and then it had a little bit of a break and then they came back and did one more story. But this is a one-shot called Rockstar and Soft Boy. And it's his first time writing and drawing in 5 years to tell a story about 2 best friends and their antics in Hollyweird, California. Looking forward to seeing what Cinna brings to the table here on page 49.
Supermassive.
Mm-hmm. And this one's for you, Chris.
Well, it's got Radiant Black in it, so I'm reading it.
Indeed.
That's a given.
Yep. And as Murd stated, the superhero crossover event of 2022. Right at the beginning of 2022, technically, because it's only February solicitations here, but page 50, we get our crossover of including Inferno Girl Red and the first appearance of Rogue Sun as Kyle Higgins, Ryan Parrott, and Matt Groom craft their giant superhero universe.
And what I find most appealing about this is that it's a one shot, so we don't have to run around if you felt compelled to buy all these different issues. It's one shot, 64 pages, $6.
Yeah, you got
great marketing, wonderful.
Absolutely, yeah, and you get a little taste of what each character brings to the table, and if you want to read more, then go ahead and read whatever comes out next for all these guys. So, well done. Page 50. All right, what else we got here in Image? Page 55.
So what's exciting about...
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Ian, go ahead.
No,
what's exciting about is that they're coming out with a new collection of the opening stories of the Astro City universe. So volume 1 to 6.
Yep.
And then volume 1 to 12, and of course the legendary half issue, which is one of the most moving comics I think I've ever read.
The nearness of you.
Oh, I'm just counting on that, Murd. Thank you. But I'm definitely gonna get this from my library because I haven't read these stories in years. I don't think I've read them since they actually came out in the newsstand. God, I just dated myself as the newsstand, the comic shop. But if you love the superhero concept and you want to see just a dynamic sort of reimagining of it, but with very much paying tribute to a lot of the concepts that have sort of made this possible, this is Kurt Busiek at the peak of his powers.
Oh, yeah.
And it's Brett Eric Anderson in the art. Of course, Alex Ross does all the covers, so he's done a new cover for this collection. Astro City, I think, for me, is consistently one of the greatest superhero comics of all time.
They're actually tempting me to sell off or donate my straight up volume 1, which is issues 1 through 6, and just buy this instead. As if this is any indication, they may very well be doing this moving forward.
I hope so.
And doing a 12 issue rather than a 6 issue series of trades, and I'm all for that, especially for not that much more. This is $30 retail, which means that discounted, I'm sure you can probably find it for 25, if not 20, if you look in the right places.
Sure.
So yeah, not bad at all for a foot in the door.
Maybe eventually, once they've reprinted everything, they'll start doing Metro books of new material. I think that was Busiek's stated intent.
Yes, I remember him saying he was going to shift to trades for new material.
Yeah, that very much the case. Yep. And once again, it's on page 55 for any of you folks looking for a foot in the door on Astro City, one of the greatest superhero tales of all time.
Yep. As Chris said, if you're a fan of superheroes as an idea, this will show them to you from an angle you've never seen them before. If you've never read Astro City, it's really spectacular stuff.
And from an angle that you never saw them before, let's go with an orientation that you may not be familiar with. On page 56, we all read this way, but Echolands is spread out, baby, and that's absolutely going to be worth your time for some of the most gorgeous artwork you can possibly ever see. I read that first issue and I absolutely loved it. And here is the hardcover collection of the first 6 issues of Echolands by J.H. Williams and W. Hayden Blackman. And the artwork end is J.H. Williams, Dave Stewart, and Todd Klein.
Wow.
I mean, you can't get better than that. And page 56... this may be a hardcover that's worth it on my shelf because it's going to be so pretty. It's going to be so damn pretty. All splash pages. I mean, come on. Good stuff. Very good stuff. Page 56. Any other trades to call out, gents?
I don't think so.
Okay. I'll mention in passing Remender and Dwyer's Nightmare. The first 5 issues of that is collected here. So if you're into horror, Remender definitely has you covered here on page 59. And only $15 for the trade. Not the typical $9.99 trade, but it's still only $15. And I'm sure, once again, you'll be able to find some decent discounts on that as well. And then on the very next page, page 60, Razor Blades, the horror magazine, book 1 omnibus, with some of the best names in comics. James Tynion, Steve Fox, Ram V, Marguerite Bennett, and tons more with this horror anthology on page 60, issues 1 through 5 of the horror magazine Razor Blades. A small cut special on the very next page, page 61. And I'll mention on 64, they are soliciting Crowded Volume 3. And I'd love to see this book come back. I sung its praises way back when, and it was my one of my picks for best of that year for best new. I think it was either best new series or best surprise. I forget which one I chose there, but Christopher Sabella on the writing, Rose Stein, Ted Brandt, and Triona Farrell on the artwork. And unfortunately, it didn't have the steam to go past volume 3. But this is the trade paperback solicitation for said third volume, and if enough people get it, this GLAAD nominated and 2-time Eisner Award nominated series may very well come back in one form or another.
You've praised this on the show before, haven't you, Ian?
Indeed.
This series?
Yep. Yeah. Indeed. Yep. It was a best of, and it's well worth a read. So this is the final volume for now, volume 3 on page 64. All right. Let's head out of Image. Although, let's see, is there a solicitation for Saga this month? I just want to make sure that there is.
Oh, there is.
Oh, yes. Here we are. Okay. Saga number 56. On page 81. We talked about it tons last month. But hey, let's just remind folks, there's another issue solicited.
Yep. Back to back.
Back to back, baby. That's what I want to see. 32 pages here for $3. Fiona Staples and Brian K. Vaughan's epic saga is back in the solicitations on the regular. Woo! Page 81. All right, let's head over to Darkhorse. Begin with some guy nobody's ever heard of named Neil Gaiman. Norse Mythology 3, number 1 of 6. Written by Neil Gaiman with
P. Craig Russell. Oh,
Craig Russell
master.
and David Rubin. Oof. Lovely. Absolutely lovely to see that. And this one's about a sea giant named Edgar, who avoids having to throw a banquet for the gods by setting Thor and Tyr off on a wild quest to find a cauldron and pitting our heroes against a multi-headed giantess, fire-breathing sea serpents, and more bizarre mythological creatures. Any of you folks who are into Norse mythology, this is going to be for you on page 88.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Haven't missed an issue of it yet, and I don't plan to start, but I do. Just my minor gripe here. I kind of wish that we were reading issue number 13 of an ongoing series as opposed to issue number 1 of 6 of the third consecutive 6-issue miniseries. Just let it be an ongoing, guys.
Fair enough, Murd. Your gripe is taken and accepted.
Mm-hmm. I feel validated.
And the hardcover for volume 2 solicited on the very next set of pages on page 90 for any of you who didn't pick it up in singles. Now here is your opportunity to do so here. Mr. Cullen Bunn returning on page 92 for Manor Black, Fire in the Blood.
There's a great Green Man cover there.
Yes, indeed. Creators of Harrow County and the Sixth Gun, with the next chapter of this gothic horror fantasy about a family of sorcerers in crisis. Brian Hurt on the writing and the artwork, and I love the artwork on this. Simple yet refined.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Page 92 on the solicit, and then 93 we get a taste of what's coming next. Let's scroll down a little bit further here. And page 98, Windmaker Volume 1. This is the West African nation of Atala, which is thrust into an era of unrest and dysfunction after their beloved president turns vicious dictator. The country on the brink of civil war, the Windmaker, an ancient hero of the Italians, mysteriously returns in what appears to be an effort to save his people. The only problem is that his spirit is reincarnated into the last person anyone expects to help, the president's head of security. Roye Okupe on the writing here, and Sunkame Akemboye on the artwork. This sounds really cool. Page 98.
Well, another book that's featuring African creators, which is wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Indeed, indeed. Darkhorse getting into the bunch as well. How about Dave McKeon as well? Black Dog, The Dreams of Paul Nash, 2nd edition here. So this is a resolicit on page 99. If you missed it the first time around, here it is again. Yep, got to call out Black Hammer as usual.
Just tremendous.
Yep. Black Hammer.
So the excitement that I got from Astro City when it came to its sort of take on the superhero is that I get the same excitement today from reading Black Hammer.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely the case. Yep.
Something reverent, but also something dynamic and new at the same time.
Oh, absolutely. Page 102 also has a hardcover for Anders Fager and Peter Berktings, The Crows. It's the first time this is available in English. When Kim inherits her grandparents' house in rural Sweden, there are still notes posted everywhere, reminders and drawings of the monsters that haunt this house and the land. The monsters are in Kim's head too, and the traumatic memories of an unsettling upbringing. That sounds freaky as heck. Page 102, scare yourselves with some Swedish horror. I forget if we mentioned this the first time around, but page 104, this is a Comixology original digital series that's being put into print. But Erica Schultz and Marika Cresta behind Forgotten Home. Look at that preview artwork.
Yes. Wow.
Oof. Lovingly rendered futuristic city there. Absolutely love it on page 104. So you will have access to this if you have Comixology Unlimited or Amazon Prime, but if you want a physical copy, this is that solicitation on page 104.
Look at this this Tarzan book. So this is Roy Thomas scripted Tarzan stories that were only available prior to this in the Edgar Rice Burroughs website. So Tarzan: The New Adventures is at last available in print.
Wow.
That is beautiful artwork. Oh,
Tom Greinberg. I remember his stint as a regular at Marvel back in the 90s.
That's right.
Did, Secret Defenders with Roy Thomas.
One of Murd's favorites from that time period.
So have, Chris.
Let's just say you have affection for it.
I do. I thought it was a great concept. The execution was occasionally somewhat lacking.
Yeah,
but that looks. Roy Thomas, he wrote when Marvel had the Tarzan license in the 70s. He wrote those stories as well, so he knows the character and the concepts.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And as stated, first time in print on page 106. All right. Anything else in Darkhorse to call out?
I think I'm good.
All right, I'll call out a manga before the manga section.
Of course.
I like doing that. Page 112, Joyama by Daniel Isles. In the lively city of Joyama, longtime friends Ringo, Arwen, and Silas work together as outrider soldiers, a team of highly skilled individuals contracted by prestigious clients and government officials to shake down organized crime. Following a high-level assassination, a recently closed case has been reopened. This was no ordinary takedown. The first volume in a genre-bending sci-fi trilogy, and the debut graphic novel by illustrator and comic artist Daniel Islis, also known by his pen name Dirty Robot. I love the artwork here. Good stuff. Onward to DC.
All right.
Okie dokie. And hey, something other than Batman is on the cover. let's just take that in. Let's just breathe it in, gentlemen. Like, ooh, it's Aquaman. Aquaman.
Actually, go back to Aquaman. Go back to that cover for a minute, please. Now, is that a new Aqua baby?
It certainly does look that way, doesn't it? I guess we're gonna find out in a moment, but yeah, it certainly does look like a young kid.
All right,
with hair that looks a lot like Mara's. So draw your own conclusions.
Indeed. Batman versus Batman Inc. on this first page here. Joshua Williamson, Batman number 120. And again, I love the fact that not only did they bring Batman Inc. back, but they brought back the Batman Inc. Batsuit, because I like that Batsuit a lot. That's essentially what we get here. Morrison's Batman suit back in action. Abyss Part 3, as the new Batman Inc.'s heinous crimes have landed them in a high-security prison. And Batman believes the only way to help his old allies is to break them out, but they don't want his help. Why wouldn't they want his help? He's Batman. I don't get it. But page 1 on that one, Josh Williamson, Jorge Molina, Batman number 120.
Ian Levinstein coming to an open mic night near you.
Yeah. Also, I don't know why they decided to do this layout here for the PDFs, and it's going to annoy me, but I'm going to try to roll through it.
Levinstein annoyed that's a dangerous creature. It's like a cornered wild animal.
It's bad enough. It's bad enough that DC, does the whole cramming solicitations onto one page, but now even their own PDFs are cramming 2 pages onto 1 page. I don't get it. Oh well.
Yes, the aim is to make the stuff that they want you to read easier to read, not the opposite.
Exactly. Well, here's Detective 1051 and 1052 for you on pages 2 and 3, if you were interested. But I'm going to scroll down a little bit further until we get to, ladies and gentlemen, She's Got the Power. On page 7, the new Champion of Shazam, written by Josie Campbell and art by the...
Oh, this is right up Murd's alley.
Wow. Oh, my God. The one and only Evan Doc Shaner on this one. So
yes, this is a lot more like it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, she's not being relegated to the Titans Academy, is she?
No, she is not. And this is a mini-series to start it off with, but I'm sure that if it does well enough, it may very well go further than that. As Mary essentially takes the mantle, she's coming to the forefront here of the Shazam stratosphere. And we'll see where this goes from here. What does that mean for Billy? That's the question.
Well, apparently he's not entirely out of the picture, because it says in the copy here that she's been informed that she's the new champion of Shazam by a talking rabbit, probably with pink fur, dispatched to her by her estranged brother, Billy. This, of course, leads me to think still further. I mean, is this still in the reimagined Jeff Johns Shazam continuity, where Billy and Mary and a bunch of other kids are all foster siblings in the same household, or are we back to Mary Bromfield being his actual... genetic sibling?
That's an excellent question. Yeah. I'm assuming we're sticking Johns here, because that would be a little jarring to suddenly go back, but also it's DC and their continuity doesn't make any sense anymore. So it's possible that we might have just, shifted again.
But if you want a masterful dissertation on continuity, see Murd Shazam Spotlights.
Oh yes, very much so.
Thank you, gentlemen.
More to come.
Yes. Sooner or later, we will get around to the 90s.
Excellent.
Absolutely. I look forward to a lot of pockets. Yeah, so page 8 has the Aqua Men series premiering here. Written by Chuck Brown and Brandon Thomas, art by Sammy Basri. We have the designs on the very next page.
I love the designs of the characters there.
Oh, beautiful. This is the prettiest an Aquaman comic has looked since Ivan Hayes was drawing it in the early days of New 52, I feel like. Absolutely vibrant.
I've always felt Black Manta's one of the coolest outfits of any supervillain.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, when done right, absolutely.
Yeah.
But you don't give him the giant Black Manta head, and you slim it down a little bit. It looks incredibly menacing.
You don't like the giant head?
I don't like the giant head. No.
I let me tell you, I thought they captured the costume really well in the Aquaman movie.
They did, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they did a really good job with that. I'm sad that apparently there was going to be a spin-off Aquaman movie focusing entirely on Black Manta that got canned. But he will be showing up in Aquaman 2 in one form or another. So I look forward to that. And I like the design as well on Aqualad here on the side. Like the slimming down and rearranging of his outfit there. So this is going to include everybody. It's Arthur Curry and Jackson Hyde are on the case. I'm still not used to calling him Jackson Hyde because he has a completely different name in the Young Justice TV show, but as it were.
What do they call him on the Young Justice TV show?
He has an actual Atlantean name.
Calderam, I think it was.
Yes, exactly. That's the one. Yep.
Yeah, because he's loosely based on a pre-crisis Aquaman supporting character, Calvin Durham.
Oh, okay.
And so that's where Calderam came from. So
nice.
I just got a little jolt of electricity right up my spine. Oh, magnificent.
Oh, and if you look at the solicitation, it looks like Garth Tempest is going to be a part of the supporting cast. And also Tula, Aqua Girl, who I guess must be among the living again somehow.
She's been amongst the living for a little while now, if I remember correctly. I forget how or why, but I'm sure there were reasons. So yeah, no, Aquaman looks like it could be pretty cool. Going to the whole Aquaman mythos here on page 8.
I'm gonna try the first issue. I've always had a soft spot for Aquaman.
Absolutely. And Jean Lin Yang on page 10.
What the hell is this?
Going full in on his Chinese monkey prince, on his whole Monkey King love here. I mean, if anybody who read, American Born Chinese, that was very much.
It's a great book.
Love it, and that was all
wonderful.
About the Monkey King and that whole mythos. And now this introduces a new hero to the DCU, the great sage equal to the heavens, better than his predecessor, the legendary Monkey King, even better than the Justice League, and definitely the Teen Titans. Actually, all the heroes combined. Everyone, put your hands together for the Monkey Prince. Marcus Sun and Jean Lin Yang with art by Bernard Chang bring this new hero to life here, and this looks really fun. I'm digging the whole journey to the west, transformation, little dial H for hero action going on here too. From the looks of it, as it looks like you can kind of make the transformation via a watch, perhaps from the artwork here. And all in Gotham City High School as well. So yeah, that this could be super fun.
Yep. I'm a big fan of trickster myths and legends from around the world, and incorporating
paper on them
into a superhero narrative and plopping it down in Batman's Gotham. It's Gotham could use a little more levity of this nature. So with Mr. Yang inflicting it. Via the folklore of his own ethnic background, I think it's going to be a good time. It's going to be well crafted, and I'm going to be reading it.
Excellent. And I love the special gold trimmed lucky red envelope variant for the Lunar New Year. Very, very
exactly
cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff on page 10, and then the artwork on page 11. Now, a shocking new take on the Suicide Squad from Simon Spurrier. Suicide Squad Blaze #1. I don't know if shocking might be what they're looking for here, but this does look like it's going to be 17 plus. So keep the kiddies away from this one. And there's pain to be found by the artwork being blocked by it clearly being too hot for DC Connect.
Yeah, looks like someone's getting decapitated.
Mm-hmm. Artwork looks great by Aaron Campbell.
Sure does.
Yep. But yeah, this is very much more along the lines of the Suicide Squad movie than perhaps previous iterations of the Suicide Squad comic book were. Just even looking at the characters involved and the character designs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. But it's a self-contained 3-issue miniseries, so if you like the movie version of the Squad, then by all means, here's an extension of that for you to enjoy in comic book form.
Indeed. Pages 12 and 13 for that one. And then it's Valentine's time indeed.
Weird love tales.
Love it. Number 1 here. It's a one-shot, page 14. Rex Ogle, Rich Doak, Colin Kelly, Jackson Lansing, Ram V, Stephanie Phillips.
Devin Grayson.
Devin Grayson,
yeah,
yes.
Good writer.
Very happy to see her back. And some great artwork as well from legends like Phil Hester and Andy Parks. And yeah, bringing love alive here in the DC Universe on page 14. That's what I like to see. We get volume 1 of the Robin series, which I talked about on one of the latest comic talks. Joshua Williamson and Gleb Melnikov. This is the first couple of issues of this. It's issues 1 through 6 of Robin and the prelude story from Batman 106 and Detective Comics 1034 thrown in there for good measure on page 16. Want to learn more about Damian and see his cool new costume in action? Then this is for you. Now, this is interesting. On page 18, Min Lee is the writer, art and cover by Andy Tong. The creative team behind Green Lantern Legacy brings back Tai Pham in the action-packed sequel. And it's been a few months since Green Lantern Tai Pham inherited his ring from his Ba and defeated his nemesis Xander Griffin. The Tai knows their last battle was only the beginning, and even though no one believes him, Tai is determined to prove that Xander is up to his old tricks again. And we even get a little bit of action from this world's Flash thrown in there for an old school Green Lantern and Flash combo. Really looking forward to reading the first volume of this. And
I love the artwork.
Oh, yeah. Good
and I get a Peter Parker vibe when a string of fires start popping around Coast City. The tie finds himself stretched in as he struggles to keep up with school, training, working at the store, and following Xander's trail.
Oh,
so,
absolutely. Yep.
Sounds like an overwhelmed, young protagonist, which I always enjoy.
Yep. And most importantly, we get some of the other Green Lantern Corps, you poozer. Page 18 and 19 for that one. Page 21, Milestones in History, Reginald Hudlin, Alice Randall, Torre, Michael Harriet, and more. Celebrate Black History Month. The Milestone Way, with a nice little milestone anthology and a great cover by Chris Cross.
I always like Chris Cross's work.
Same here. Page 21 for that one. All righty. Onward to the multiple.
Here you go, Ian. Here's your favorite layout of solicitations.
Everybody loves this stuff. Nobody loves this stuff.
Let it make you bitter.
Yep. More Batman versus Bigby, A Wolf in Gotham. 6th issue.
Which I missed the first issue, so I'm gonna have to read that in trade. I just couldn't get it in time.
Yep.
And I'm looking forward to, like with all Tom King stuff, I'm gonna reread Batman and Catwoman when it comes out in trade.
Yep.
To get the full effect, but it's been great.
This is issue 10 of 12 solicited of Batman and Catwoman. So that Bigby is on 26, and then 27 has issue 10 of that. And then issue 7 of 8 of Blue and Gold, number 7, also solicited up in here. Return.
That's a stunning cover for Catwoman number 40. Wow.
Oh, yes, indeed. Yep. That cover is by Jeff DeCal on the bottom half there of page 27. Dark Knights of Steel continues on the next set of pages, page 28. And I've heard very positive things about that. We'll check that out once it's all said and done.
It's an Elseworlds, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Without the actual banner of Elseworlds,
right.
Still annoys me, but that's life. And then continuing the awesome covers of Nightwing.
We have to mention it every month because they're so
every
good.
month. Yes. as now the first crossover between Jonathan Kent and Nightwing occurs here on this page 31.
And also look at the cover to Human Target book 5.
Ooh.
Oh, I read issue 1, loved it. I have issue 2, I haven't read it yet, but it's Tom King again. He excels at taking on these, I guess you'd call them like second tier or B characters and making them really exciting and relevant to read.
Yep.
And certainly that's the case so far with the Human Target series. It's wonderful.
Yep, absolutely. We don't get covers for Justice League Incarnate number 4, nor Justice League versus the Legion of Superheroes number 2, even though we get a variant. So I guess bad things must be happening there. Tune in.
Says this issue, a hero dies.
Yeah, and I guess they
Not
don't
great luck, man.
Oh boy, good stuff.
Or it's a real microscopic view of like the gray gargoyle's hide or something, or a golem or something. Who knows?
And if you zoom in real close, you can see his left finger.
God.
And I love One Star Squadron number 3's cover. Even though I'm still not sure if I'm actually going to like this series, the covers have been great.
That is a great cover. Yep. Steve Lieber. All right.
Indeed. Another good
Scooby Doo.
Oh yeah, there we go. Page 32.
Charlie Fish, Murd.
Mm-hmm. And Superman.
By the way, just issue 114. Hell of a run for that book.
Yeah.
Scooby Doo. Fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep. And the cover price is still $2.99.
And if we didn't get enough crossover action, we get more crossover action in Superman Son of El number 8, as we get some Aqualad Jonathan Kent crossover happening on page 33.
Aquaman with his trusty sidekick, Aqualad.
Excellent.
And whatever that seahorse was called, I forgot. But
Storm.
Was it Storm? All right.
I believe it was Storm.
I have to get my ass to reading The Flash like sooner than later. Page 35 solicits The Flash number 779, and our listeners have talked up that most recent issue of Flash that I believe you mentioned, Murd, with
Dr. Fate.
Yes.
And it's kind of a contemporary augmentation / extrapolation of the classic old "Stop! Don't pass up this issue. My life depends on it."
Yep.
The Flash thing from the
what issue number is this?
Silver Age. It would have been, well, it's already, I already have it in my hands, so it's got to be a few issues before number 779 here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably like,
I think it might have been 776 if I remember correctly.
All right, I'll try to see if we can seek it out.
Yeah. I'll be looking it up in the background here to see if I can track that down.
Yep. It's got Dr. Fate in it, and it gets, it's meta fun with superheroes. Adams' run has just been dipping into all the right ice cream bins of superhero lore. It's fun. It's tasty. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It doesn't get too silly either. It's just good, enjoyable comics.
Let's know for a second. Ice cream bins of superhero lore. Got another chill. I'm glad I'm here.
That is indeed 776. So there we are.
Right.
Yep. Good stuff. And I the Joker is not a series I'm going to read, but I love that image right there of Gordon as he's being attacked. The Joker number 12, James Tynion IV, giving us a take on, or at least his take on the titular villain.
Murby got the Creeper in Batman and Scooby-Doo Mysteries number 11.
Oh, yes, I noticed, and there's no way I'm missing that one either.
Excellent.
It's the penultimate issue of that maxi series.
And man, they're doing the whole gray thing like all over the place. So either the version of the PDF I got was early and doesn't have it, which is also possible, or they just really don't want us to know what some of these covers are. So go figure. Page 34, if you want to find out what's happening in Teen Titans Academy number 12 by reading about it, because you're not going to see the cover.
Challenge of the Super Sons.
Yes.
Sorry, I just wanted to say that.
Oh no, that's perfectly fine. Page 37.
All right, let's hold on here for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Gotham Central Omnibus. All right.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to read one of the best finite series ever produced from the DC universe, get this book. How much is it? $100? Let me see here.
Yeah, $100. You got it.
Worth every penny. Now, again, look at the creative team.
Mm-hmm.
That's enough.
Yep.
Brubaker and Rucka co-writing these stories. I was in Pittsburgh this past weekend, and Ryan and I visiting our dear old comrade Dan Cantilla. Danny boy, I'm sure he's listening. And I was trying to replenish some of the trades I lost in my flood. I had this omnibus, and I was at a half-price bookstore, which is this great chain of stores out in that sort of part of the country. They have a wonderful selection of half-price, like, books and comics and so forth. And they had the one soft cover, which I think is the best part of this series, which is when the Joker is just randomly shooting people in Gotham City as a sniper, and the detectives are trying to hunt him down. It is absolutely gripping. This is have you guys read this series?
I've read most of it. I've never read all of it, but I've read most of it.
I think I've read the first handful of issues.
Okay. Highest recommendation. This is as good as it gets. And if you love Renee Montoya, you definitely need to read this series.
I think I've read maybe the first 2 volumes, and then there was a gap, and then I went back to the arc where the Robins were being killed. And that's where I picked it up from there, and then finished the series as it went.
Murd, you want to comment on Absolute Multiversity?
Oh, I'd be happy to. This collects the Multiversity series of one-shots that Morrison did with a variety of collaborators a few years ago. It's some of the most imaginative parallel Earth storytelling that DC had seen in some time. In particular, the Shazam Thunder.
Oh, that was awesome.
Shot,
yeah, that was awesome.
Contain art by the aforementioned Doc Shaner. And it showed us a very classically styled Marvel family on Earth 5, where they are alive and well, and nothing that's been done to them by Hollywood or by Jeff Johns and Gary Frank or by any subsequent creators carries any force whatsoever. Not that there's not any value to those other creators' efforts, but I do prefer the classic formula for the Marvel family, and that's pretty much what you get thanks to Morrison and Shaner in that one shot. And that's just one of several different takes on different parallel worlds within the New 52 multiverse as explored by Morrison and company here. And it's being blown up into the absolute format. I'm squinting to read, but I think it says like 8 1/3 by 12 1/4 inches under hardcover, and it's
8 1/8 by 12 1/4. Yep,
620 pages.
Yep, that too is $100. So it's a little pricey, but I mean, if you really want to enjoy it at a greater size, at a greater scale, so you can appreciate the detail a little better, it's good comics if you've been a fan of DC and its various parallel Earth stories over the years. This is Grant Morrison's mind-expanding take, and especially the Ultra Comics one-shot. If you're into mind-bending meta fiction type stuff, if you liked that Flash issue we were just talking about, just see what he does with the idea of a comic book that is itself a superhero, not just the home of a superhero, not just the format in which a superhero is presented, but the comic book itself is a superhero.
Yeah, and plus he does some great stuff with very Watchmen-esque characters and
yes, and the Pax Americana, which was his self-conscious pastiche / dig at Alan Moore and his Watchmen, which were a take on the old Charlton characters. So when Grant Morrison decided to revisit Earth 4 as a parallel Earth using the actual Charlton characters, he put a Watchmen twist on them and just made it as much and more in Gibbons' style as he could. So that's probably going to be included in this Absolute Edition as well.
Yep.
Quick note, they're featuring the classic question series in the 80s by Denny O'Neil and Dennis Cowan.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Good stuff.
Page 39. So we go from a pastiche to the Charlton characters to the Charlton characters. So go figure. And that's pretty much it. Surprised that those solicitations ended as quickly as they are, but there really aren't a lot of trades solicited this month. So onward we go to back to the book. And we head to IDW. Starting off with we get ourselves some Jim Zub Rick and Morty action. A one-shot on page 122. I am happy to see that Rick and Morty still has a home. And in one form or another, I don't know if this is just going to be because they have the D&D license at IDW, this is the crossover, but let's see if this continues at IDW or if we just get more Rick and Morty stuff from elsewhere. But Jim Zub and Troy Little, Rick and Morty versus Dungeons and Dragons, the Meeseeks adventure one shot. Look at me! This is going to be great.
Has there been some destabilization of Rick and Morty's relationship with Oni Press?
I'm not sure. I know that they did halt the ongoing series. So I know, we've been getting a bunch of miniseries and what have you. And I was wondering if that was a destabilization, but it's just my idea being thrown out there that perhaps this might be, IDW trying to snag a new property, but could just be a crossover.
I think that's what it is. I mean, Oni's logo is still on the cover here.
Good point. Yeah.
But this is following a couple of Rick and Morty versus D&D miniseries that they've done. Mm-hmm. But now they're giving us a one-shot involving, those crazy Mr. Meeseeks popping out of the Meeseeks box.
Love it.
Captain Action, a classic collection written by Jim Shooter, the late great Gil Kane. Mm-hmm. Art by go back there, I'm sorry.
Sure. Yeah.
Wally Wood. Wow. Gil Kane, covered by Gil Kane and Dick Giordano. Holy mackerel.
Mm-hmm. And a new introduction by Mark Waid.
Mm-hmm. Yep. This originally came out through DC, one of their early forays into licensed property tie-ins. And, if this were a soft cover, I think I would probably be buying it.
Well, it's only $29.99 for 144 pages, which is not too shabby. And maybe we'll get a trade paperback not too soon after this. But page 123, if you're in the mood for some excellent old school action.
All right, we got to say this for Shane.
Yes.
So, how cool is this? If you're a G.I. Joe fan, so they're doing a comic based on the sensibility and style of the animated series from the 1980s, which I lived and breathed and cherished as a kid. They got the animated style down with the characters. Cobra Commander's hatching some other, globe-spanning plot that no doubt would have encompassed an entire weekly miniseries back then. Great stuff. So that looks like it's a lot of fun.
Now, there has been talk that we may soon be seeing the end of the partnership between G.I. Joe and IDW.
Really?
And we may even be losing Transformers from IDW. Robert Kirkman and Skybound are currently in negotiations to get both the G.I. Joe and Transformers license. It's been reported elsewhere. If this does happen, then there's going to be major shakeup. But most importantly, if it does happen, they better be smart enough to continue to have Larry Hama writing G.I. Joe and continuing the story that he's been telling for years and years and years.
Yeah, I mean, if people aren't aware, the classic Marvel series continues with its original numbering in under IDW.
Yep.
And by the way, let's take a look quickly. I'm sorry, and go back to this one here. So
Sure.
this is a great concept. So you're getting 100 pages for $7.99. Some of Larry Hama's, I mean, they're billing some of Larry Hama's greatest GI Joe stories.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm definitely picking this. I don't know what stories they're putting in it, but I don't really care because it's a selection of Larry Hama GI Joe stories. It's probably gonna be really damn good.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. And these were on 125 and 126, by the way. GI Joe, Real American Hero, Yo Joe.
They even had Yo Joe Cola in the comic books. Really fun.
Oh wow! Look at this artisan edition.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Gorgeous. Mike Mignola's Hellboy and Hell and Other Stories artisan edition. The artisan editions are always beautiful, and now they spotlight some of the best Hellboy series all here in one artisan. And it also, the artisan edition features the first 5 issues of Hellboy and Hell, as well as a wealth of historical material. The first 3 Hellboy stories, the 2 initial 4 pagers that introduced the character, and the 10-page story from John Byrne's Next Men number 21. Plus the corpse and
Next Men.
other tales selected by Mignola for inclusion. That is super, super awesome. I had no idea that Hellboy actually, began in John Byrne's Next Men. That's
yeah, I'd forgotten that. Yep.
Yeah. Wow.
I had that issue in my collection for exactly that reason.
Excellent.
Kapla!
128 Star Trek Klingons.
The story of Kalis. Oh.
Yep. And how many pages is that? How many pages? 52.
And the Mirror War is great. I'll talk about it in more detail when it's done, but it's really good Star Trek.
Yep, issue 4 of 8 there on 128. David and Scott Tipton with Gavin Smith on the artwork, and continuing the excellent covers by J.K. Woodward. And we finish out My Little Pony Generations on the very next page, 129, as the crossover we've all been waiting to see concludes. All the ponies, all of them. How about this on page 130? Star Wars Adventures, Ghost of Vader's Castle.
This is sounds interesting.
It does, yeah. And artwork by Francesco Francavilla.
Well,
I mean, done right there.
Yeah,
That's all you need. But also Megan Levins, Robert Hack, and Chris Finoglio. Kevin Scott is on the writing. And the ghosts of Vader's castle are haunting everybody's dreams in this. So it's
even Jackson's in it. Wow.
I know. Yep.
It's Star Wars horror stories, or ghost stories at least. They've done a couple of these for the last couple of Halloweens. They've done these little Vader's Castle type miniseries, and I guess this is collecting the latest one.
Yep, it finishes the saga started in Tales of Vader's Castle and Return to Vader's Castle. Good stuff. Ooh, wow! Look at it! Look at this excellent cover here.
Yeah, it's a great cover.
Oh. Beautiful use of color. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Best of Jennika. Jennika would be the female turtle that was introduced not too long ago, and that's on page 133 there. If you want to know a little bit more about the newest turtle. All right, I think that may be it for IDW. Yes, it is. And so, onward to Marvel. For those watching the video, apologies for the size of these because somebody decided to make a low-quality PDF this month, and that somebody is Marvel. X Lives of Wolverine continues. I'm sure we're
X Deaths of Wolverine continues.
And then more X Lives of Wolverine. But let's just point out here that this is a Wolverine Omega Red hybrid. I do not want to know why they decided to do that. Days of Omega Past. Omega Red, the character that was created because they wanted to make a toy. Let's head over to this page 5 and 6 here. Spider-Gwen Gwenverse, as now Spider-Gwen herself gets her own Into the Spider-Verse-esque crossover here, as we get many different types of Gwen, not just of the spider.
Like Miss Marvel Gwen there.
Exactly, Ms. Marvel Gwen. We've got a Captain America Gwen. There's a Wolverine Gwen. I'd love to know how that happened. Is that the Squadron Supreme character?
Nighthawk.
Thank you, Nighthawk. Yep, that looks
Kinda
like
looks like it. Yeah.
Yeah, a bit of that going on. There's an Iron Man, a Thor.
Thor.
Yep. All the Gwens you can fit into a crossover right here. And Tim Seeley on the writing.
Yes.
That gets me interested immediately. Could be a good time right there. I saw the trailer for the new Into the Spider-Verse movie, and finding out that it's part 1 of 2 movies makes me even more intrigued.
Oh, there's Gwen in her ill-fated outfit the day she died.
Yeah. Covers by Greg Land here. Ghost Rider returns.
Johnny Blaze.
And it's Johnny Blaze.
Poor Johnny Blaze.
Benjamin Percy and Corey Smith behind this new iteration of Ghost Rider on page 8 here of the catalog. Johnny Blaze has the perfect life. A wife and 2 kids, a job at an auto repair shop, and a small town community that supports him. But Johnny isn't doing well. He has nightmares of monsters when he sleeps, and he sees bloody visions when he's awake. The life is beginning to feel like a prison. I wonder why.
It sounds like are they kind of introducing a new version of Johnny Blaze?
I think he may be trapped in a Pleasantville scenario.
Okay. That's possible, yeah.
Yeah, because I highly doubt they're going to be, rebooting Johnny Blaze. I think it's more like, this is the life I live, and the life I live is not necessarily the life I live. Okay, I need to learn more about these Thunderbolts, and I may very well be reading these Devil's Reign.
Well, it's Chip Zdarsky.
Exactly. It's hard not to when Chip Zdarsky's behind it, but when you've got the Thunderbolts and they're funded by Wilson Fisk, you have me intrigued. Great covers continue.
Yeah, that's a sensational cover.
And page 15, Chris Pachalo on the Daredevil Woman Without Fear cover. And ladies and gentlemen, Amazing
Murd,
Spider-Man.
look at this.
Number 88.bay. I don't care. It's always bay, even if they mean beyond. The Return of the Slingers. Yes. A concept that I actually really enjoyed back in the day. When
Same here.
Indeed. When Peter Parker needed to adopt a new identity, he adopted multiple identities because that's what you do. And eventually these costumes then went to new individuals. And now here we are with the Return of the Slingers. And Hobie Brown puts on the Hornet costume.
Hobie Brown.
Hobie Brown. Thank you, sir. Age 18.
AKA the Prowler.
The Prowler, yep.
Yep. Now let's see what he can do as the Hornet. Good stuff. More continued, Ben Reilly action as well as we get to the 90th issue here. And Ben Reilly's Spider-Man continues with J.M. DeMatteis and David Baldeon. Solicitation on page 22.
And these are retro stories, right?
Yes, they are. Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
They're back in the old days, as you can tell by the costume.
Yep.
Savage Spider-Man #1.
Joe Kelly.
Yep. Joe Kelly crafts a tale here, and they don't say it's an Elseworlds, but I'm going to bet that it is. Peter Parker finds himself in the middle of the biggest, most wide-ranging adventure he's ever had, and out of the gate, it has turned him into a savage beast, Forget everything you know about Spider-Man. All rules and regulations are out the door, and Peter Parker may never be the same. I mean, it could just be a side story, but it certainly sounds elseworldly to me. Joe Kelly and Gerardo Sandoval on a 5-issue mini here. Great cover by Nick Bradshaw. Variant covers by Bagley and Lim.
No slouches there.
Mm-hmm. Carnage Forever. More like Carnage Never. But
yeah, I did get Venom #1. I'll read it and report on it in our next comic talk.
Yep. Well, he's back in the in the thick of it after showing up in Venom 2.
Yeah.
But Philip Kennedy Johnson, Ram V, and Ty Templeton, those are no slouches there.
Ty Templeton,
Yep. Edgar Salazar, Ty Templeton, and more on the artwork as a one-shot celebrates Venom.
30 years of carnage.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
Doesn't that make you feel old?
Age 26. Yeah, you're damn right it does. Oh boy.
Were you 8 years old then?
Yeah, just about. Yeah, I'm turning 38 in January, so yep. And page 28, we mentioned the first issue last month. We'll mention it again. Ron Mars.
What a team.
With Ron.
God. Thanos.
A Mighty Marvel team up? Not likely. New
Iron Fist.
Yeah.
New series.
Excellent. Page 30 on that one. And is it also a new Iron Fist?
We'll find out.
Yep.
Oh, it says who is the new Iron Fist?
Indeed.
That could be a clue.
Who? We'll find out. Alyssa Wong on the writing and Michael Eeg on the artwork. And a great cover by Jim Chung on page 30 and 31. Sabretooth gets a miniseries. We were all clamoring for that.
Cynical Levinstein.
Hey, I mean, it's Leonard Kirk on artwork, so that's got a signature to it. A great cover by Ryan Stegman. But yeah, 5-issue mini for Sabretooth. To be fair, there have been good stories told with Sabretooth in the past. I just still think my favorite version of Sabretooth is the Age of Apocalypse Sabretooth.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep. And a new Maestro miniseries begins with Peter David, because he still has more story to tell there. Now, page 33. I am so in for this. I mean,
Marrow.
Not just that, but most of the original New Mutants.
Oh yeah, look at that. Yep.
You've got Sunspot, Cannonball, Marrow.
Is that Strong Guy in the back there?
It is definitely Strong Guy.
You're damn right, it's Strong Guy. Yep.
Guido Carosella, baby.
Oh, I love him. And talk about a guy who has gone through down some paths that nobody expected him to, including being King of Hell at one point. He got better, but that was during Peter David's run of X Factor, the second run, when it was X Factor Investigations. Those were some dark times right there. But yeah, Banshee on this team, Forge, Strong Guy, Armor, Boom Boom, and Tempo of the Mutant Liberation Front. A character that was at one point almost going to be a member of X-Force, and according to Fabian Nicieza, on a recent interview I listened to on Jay and Miles, she almost was, because had he continued on X-Force, that very well likely would have been the case. He was planning on bringing her in, but now she finally gets her time in the sun here on page 33, and this is an eclectic team that I would very much like to read.
The creative team on excellent #1.
Oh yeah, and it's
Is that Dupe? What is he called?
Yeah,
Dupe. He is called Dupe. Yeah. So we're going back to the Ecstatics. It looks like They're called the Excellent this time.
Milligan and Allred back for more. Yep. Wow, that's awesome. Good for them. Teaming up for the first time in quite some time on page 34. Yep. I love the cover here.
Oh, Ulrich, great take on a classic X-Men Bronze Age cover.
Absolutely. Speaking of Bronze Age, X-Men Legends number 12, we get the prelude.
Oh,
The original
the Alan Davis cover. Oh,
beautiful, beautiful. And no slouch on the artwork on the inside either.
nope.
Chris Claremont on the writing, Scott Eaton on the artwork. And if you were ever wondering what happened in between, their disappearance from the X-Men books and the beginning of Excalibur, now we get to find out more.
Yeah, because this is after they thought the X-Men were all dead.
Indeed.
This is when they go to Australia. The X-Men vanished to Australia. So
Yep.
great period in the Claremont run.
Love it. In the aftermath of Fall of the Mutants.
Yep, that's.
I love the X-Men in the Outback period. MODOK. Uh-oh.
Yeah, MODOK's my man. And
Look at that Pete Woods variant cover, by the way.
So cool. So cool. Jerry Duggan and Javier Pina continue their host Hickman run on X-Men. And great cover here for New Mutants.
It is.
Oof.
That is a fantastic cover. Wow.
Yep. Danilo Beyruth. The cover is by Martin Simmons. Vita Ayala continues her run on New Mutants there.
Yeah, I'll be reporting issue 1 of Venom by Al Ewing, Brian Hitch, when I read it.
Yeah, no, definitely. Let me know. I like the redesign of the costume.
Yep. I just got it because it's Al Ewing. I mean, he could have been doing, Omega, the Man Unknown, or whatever it was. I'm going to read it.
Well, just like I'll be reading She-Hulk number 1 and definitely She-Hulk number 2 by Rainbow Rowell. As after her Runaways run, I am all in.
What a great cover that is. Wow.
Beautiful on page 40. Yep. Covered by Jen Bartel. Great Alex Ross cover. I mean, all the covers have been excellent for Captain America, Iron Man. But back to the Captain America armor, essentially. But that's certainly not Steve Rogers in that armor. Page 45.
Yeah, speaking of the Slingers, it kind of looks like the Prodigy armor, doesn't it?
That's a good point. Yeah. Cross between the Prodigy armor and the Iron Patriot. Maybe it is Prodigy. We'll never know. Well, no, we will until we read it. Avengers Forever. I mean, I still can't wrap my head around the fact there's another Avengers Forever and that it's being written by Jason Aaron. But I look forward to seeing what the heck he's pulling here. Third issue of that solicited here on page 46. And then on page 49, a Eternals one-shot, Eternals The Undying, Kieran Gillen writing and Ryan Bodenheim on artwork. Either of you two read any of Kieran Gillen's Eternals yet?
I have the Thanos one-shot. I just haven't read it yet.
Got it.
Yep, I've got all of it and haven't read any of it yet.
Well, as it says, may the Celestials have mercy on your souls.
Thanos is not the most evil ruler that the Eternals have ever had.
Interesting.
Uranus the Undying. Yeah.
Ooh. And then page 50, baby. Fantastic Four, Reckoning War, Alpha number 1. Dan Slott.
Look at that team. Look at that
Carlos
team.
Pacheco.
Oh. Wow.
Cannot frickin' wait for this, man. Ugh. Absolutely in all the way.
In!
It was an advanced solicitation last month, I believe, because this is pretty much the exact same solicitation on previews. But yeah, Fantastic Four number 40 also solicited here as well as part of that.
Yeah, it feels like they're resoliciting a number of things here because of the delays that they've experienced for one reason or another.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm looking forward to, as if you went past Hawkeye, discussing that show when it's over, which is in just another few weeks.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to our discussion on that.
I'm caught up as of our recording today. However, there will be a new one tomorrow, and I cannot wait. Cannot wait. Hoping a certain somebody shows up by the end.
Oh, God.
About that when we get.
Yes.
Yep. Marvel Voices Legacy #1. Cody Ziegler, Victor Laval, and more. Tons of people on the artwork. Great cover by Chris Cross again. And another Star Pack Voices special as Stormbreaker Natasha Bustos makes her writing debut with a gorgeous tale of Wakanda. We've got some Cloak and Dagger in here. Or at least my mistake. The Jessica Jones and Cloak and Dagger TV writer Jay Haltman explores the legacy of Sam Wilson, and Amazing Spider-Man scribe Cody Ziegler goes back to Luke Cage with his 50th anniversary, and tons more here in this anthology one-shot on page 55.
Oh.
59, Iron Man #17.
Look at that cover.
Excellent.
God.
Oh.
Is this the nose faceplate? Or is that just the reflection?
It's the reflection. Yeah.
Okay.
It really looks like Alex Dross drew a nose, but no, that is not the nose faceplate. Be hilarious if it was, though. And another great cover by Adam Hughes for Black Widow #15 on the next page 60. All right, into the Star Wars stuff,
which is consistently great.
Mm-hmm.
We've been talking about that for years now.
Oh yeah, everything's pretty much mid arc here, so not really anything to point out. So I think we're going to head over to trades. And Conan the Barbarian, the original Marvel Years Omnibus, Volume 8. So
Priest.
Here. Yep. Chris Priest, Val Zemeckis. Penciled by Val Zemeckis. And a whole bunch of great Conan stories there on page 72.
Oh, Young Avengers, so good.
Young Avengers by Heinberg.
God, so good.
Page 74. They re-release it all the time, but this is well worth the hardcover collection. Not just
Children's Crusade in there as well.
Yep,
so.
Exactly, and all the one-shots, because there were tons of one-shots involved there, as well as a couple of the miniseries that were written by people other than Heinberg. Paul Cornell, Matt Fraction, Sean McKeever. Great creators. Now this is something interesting. Page 76. I'm doing an omnibus of Ultimate X-Men. That was a series that had its highs and
its lows. Yes.
Oh yeah. Yep. Mostly the fact that it seemed like they never really stuck the landing on a lot of the stuff that they set up.
It was nowhere near as consistent as Ultimate Spider-Man was.
Agreed entirely.
Yeah.
There was a later series that was actually much better. That was sort of like the successor, almost like the New Mutants of the Ultimate.
I didn't remember that one. Okay.
With Wolverine's son and and a couple of others after Ultimatum. Since Ultimatum was the less said about Ultimatum, the better. This was Mark Miller and Jeff Johns and unfortunately Chuck Austin, but what can you do? With some great artwork by the Kuberts, Tom Rainey, Derenick, Esad Ribic, Chris Pachalo. I mean, stars of the industry.
I love the weary, jaded Levinstein.
Hey, man. I'm not Chuck Austin's biggest fan, and I can't pretend to be. But, I'm sure he's got his fans out there, but I still, one of the worst runs of X-Men I've ever experienced.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that either.
Yeah, I maintain he's a talented guy, but he does his best work when he's not working with characters that were created by other people in a universe shared with other creators' work.
Exactly. The Exile stuff he wrote actually was not that bad. That much I'll give him. But page 76 for the Ultimate X-Men Omnibus Volume 1. Then an Amazing Spider-Man omnibus on the very next page with a terrific Alex Ross homage to the Amazing Fantasy. Page 77 for that one. The
Contest
Marvel...
of Champions.
Yes.
Wow.
Page 80.
The first ever Marvel. That's the first Marvel event miniseries. That
Mm-hmm.
predates Secret Wars.
Yep. John Romita Jr. on the pencils, along with Al Milgrom, Bob Hall, and more, and a cover by Romita Jr. as well.
Introducing a whole passel of new international Marvel superheroes, many of them based on terrible ethnic/nationalist stereotypes.
Yeah.
That's the early 80s.
It was different times. It was different times.
It certainly was.
And page 86, if you were looking forward to checking out Venom, advanced solicitation for Volume 1 here. That is not out until April 2022. However, if you would like to advance solicit it, you can on page 86. And Star Wars The High Republic, Trail of Shadows by Daniel Jose Older and Dave Watker. Yes, Dave Wachter.
Great Dave Wachter. Yep.
We know that guy.
Indeed. Page 88. Great artwork. Volume 2 of X-Men Legends on page 90. That's the Larry Hama stuff, as well as some Nicieza, Claremont, and Louis Simonson.
Oh.
Yes. Reprinting of Volume 1 of the Epic Collection. The Lee and Kirby days. Page 92. Then Volume 8 on page 93.
Oh, this is stuff from the Bronze Age.
Ween and Englehart. Speaking of Carnage, page 94, if you want some old school Carnage, Epic Collection with David Michelini, Terry Kavanagh, J.M. DeMatteis, and Tom DeFalco with pencils by Bagley, Tom Weil, Sal Buscema, Ron Lim, and others.
Alex Saviak, yep.
Page 94, whole bunch of Carnage action. Maximum.
Oh, there it is, Murd.
Yes.
Yep. A new printing.
Yep.
The Avengers Defenders War, an Epic Collection on page 95.
And that is not Benicio del Toro. That is the collector.
How right you are, Chris.
Yep.
Oh, here's where they have the post, the beginning of the red team, the gold team and blue teams of the X-Men. It's right in your wheelhouse, Ian.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what you grew up with.
Page 96. Yep, this is like old home for me.
Yeah.
And collects 281 to 288 right before I started collecting. But I did read a bunch of this stuff in one way or another. Introduction of Bishop and tons of other stuff here for you. Plus X-Men.
The Ghost Rider crossover.
Ghost Rider crossover. X-Men 4 through 9. X-Men Annual #1. Lee, Partaccio, Byrne, Lobdell. Oof. Man, oh man.
Mackey was all over the 1990s.
He was, as was Nicieza and Lobdell.
Yeah. God, I love this series. I freaking love Spider-Girl.
Yep. I remember when I bought the digests of Spider-Girl from your very shop, Chris. I
always had them in stock.
Yep. For a friend's daughter of mine, and she very much enjoyed that. Page 98, Spider-Girl, The Complete Collection, Volume 4. Back when McKeever was writing it along with DeFalco and friends. And I think that's just about it for Marvel.
When is the Moon Knight show with Oscar Isaac supposed to come out? Do you know?
Does not have a date yet. But,
okay. All right.
I'll say TBD 2022.
All right. I can't wait to see that.
Yep.
Priest.
Christopher Priest, Draculina. Could Draculina have less clothes if she tried? That's the question.
I have no idea what this is about, but it's Priest doing a #1 issue. I'm going to get it. I have no idea. I mean, it's part of Amperell's universe, but that's all I know.
It's Priest's new take on another Warren Publications.
Okay.
part of the direct of Vampy's supporting cast from way
Gotcha.
back when.
Yep.
She appeared to be a very different take on the character, and then Priest kind of gave a big twist to everything and proved that she was actually closer to the original formula than anyone knew.
Huh.
And now here she is in a book of her own.
Excellent. Page 143 for that. And I hope she doesn't have too much of a draft.
Oh man, you're a tonic for the spirit.
All right.
Do you tell these jokes to Martha?
Yeah, and she's more punny than I am sometimes. It's ridiculous. Speaking of Priest, more of Vampirella Dracula Unholy, number 3 on page 154. Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, The Classic Years. Written by Kurt Busiek, Richard Howell, Frank Storm, Paul Dini, Joe Duffy.
Joe Duffy.
Woo.
Good
Dave
writer.
Cockrum on art, Fred Hembeck. Oh my God. Page 156.
Reprints of the old Claypool Comics Elvira stuff. I didn't know that so many notables worked on that series.
Is there still someone inhabiting the Elvira persona in media today, or no?
Yeah.
There is?
Pretty sure it's the same lady.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I believe so.
Actually, recently came out as lesbian a little while ago.
Oh.
Good for her. Page 156 for all this older stuff here. Collects Elvira, Mistress of the Dark 1 through 26 and materials from 27 as well. Love the artwork on the next page, too. Back in print for the first time in 20 years. How about that? Okay, what else we got? Nothing else in Dynamite that I can see. Although I will mention in passing the Invincible Red Sonja, written by Connor and Palmiani, artwork by Amanda Connor. Bound to be pretty, bound to be funny, bound to be.
That art was by Moritat, wasn't it?
Oh yes, I'm sorry. You're right. Yeah, that the cover was by Amanda Connor. You are correct there. Moritat on the artwork, but no slouch there either on page 1.
Yeah, I just want to give credit where credit's due.
Mm-hmm. By all means.
Dynamite's doing. I always say they always do great James Bond stuff.
Absolutely.
What I've read.
Indeed.
Ian, did you like the last James Bond film?
I did. I thought it could have been a half hour shorter. And
I loved it, but it was long, but I loved it.
Yeah. I enjoyed everything that was there. It felt the most old school Bond out of anything
definitely
Greg has done so far.
Next time we're on with Shane, we can talk about it in more detail.
Yeah,
I'm sure he's seen it.
I did a mostly review on a previous comic. I think it was the one that you couldn't make it to. And I did mention that I enjoy the ending, but I know how divisive it can be. So, all right, let's start off.
Oh wait. Ooh.
Yeah, indeed, The Killer.
Oh, this is a tremendous series. Oh, The Killer. Deemer got me into this.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so they're bringing the character. It's just about the life of this hitman, and just what he experiences through his job essentially, on the choices he makes and how he tries to sort of change things in his life. It's superb. I think it was Archaea that printed it. I want to say originally.
That would make sense if it's Boom, since Boom and Archaea have that relationship.
Yeah, but it's I don't know if they have the whole series. It looks like they don't have the full series back in print. If you look at the also available at the bottom there, but it's it's a superb series. Highest recommendation.
Let's focus on the fact that it is becoming a Netflix film directed by
David Fincher. Oh wow!
Yeah, that's a win. Man, oh man.
Ow.
Yep. Yeah, I'll have to check this out.
Yeah, but if you like your crime comics, definitely seek out the original Killer stories.
Yep, this is a 6-issue miniseries here on 184, back in the Killer universe. Azarello. Yep. Faithless 3, number 1 of 6, continuing his Faithless saga, and the final act of the epic thriller masterpiece on page 186. How about this?
Wow.
Page 188. All new Firefly #1. New creative team of rising star writer David M. Booher and artist Jordi
The
Perez.
art is beautiful.
Oh,
Whew.
yeah. Jordi Perez is great. All new shiny direction for the crew of the Serenity. Captain Kaylee leads the crew on a heist that proves too much for their moral code, but when mercenaries steal the relics anyway, it turns into a recovery mission. Meanwhile, unexpected revelations about Jane's family and past further complicate things. But how will Jane's past collide with the crew's desperate present, especially when it leads them to steal from, not the thieves' den they had in mind? A brand new direction here for Firefly, and yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm definitely intrigued. See where we're going here. Just like I'm intrigued in finally reading on 190 issue 3 of 4 Buffy the Last Vampire Slayer. I'm gonna read this in full when it's out. Definitely.
Yeah, it sounds great. It sounds really interesting. I love Buffy. God.
Yep. Ooh, page 193. Something is killing the children. Book 1 Deluxe Limited Slipcase Edition. Those are a lot of words. A lot of words. But it certainly looks pretty, and that cover is creepy as heck. 193. Anything else? Boom.
I don't think so. A lot of Power Rangers stuff.
Indeed. Well, whatever works. I've got a 207 Mamo soft cover here. Sass Malij makes her astonishing debut in her first original title that answers the question of how we all reconcile our responsibilities with our dreams for our own future. Orla O'Reilly, the youngest in a long line of hedge witches, is compelled to return home after the death of her grandmother. In the wake of her passing, seas are impossible to fish, crops have soured, and even Joe Manalo's attic is taken over by a poltergeist. To make matters worse, it appears the cause is Mamo, or her mislaid bones, that is. This collects the first 5 issues of Mamo here in one collection. I remember seeing this solicited back in a little while ago, and it looked gorgeous.
Yeah, it sure does. And any story that tackles, like, one of the fundamental questions we all, well, some of us don't like to face it, but, how do you balance responsible obligation with what you actually really want to do with your life?
Yep.
That's always a great concept for a story.
Absolutely. Yep. Page 207 for that collection. As we move on to the rest of the.
As I told you guys before, I have to leave soon, unfortunately, because I have to go to ShopRite.
Okay.
Ooh.
Well, before you do, though, you have to mention this thing that's now on screen, Chris.
But of course, page 222 is made for you.
Okay, so I'm just in awe. So it's Innis, okay, taking on one of the theaters of World War II that doesn't give as much sort of press and popular culture, which is often referred to as CBI, or the China Burma India Theater, which involved Great Britain, the United States, Australia, and various colonial Indian forces and other groups fighting Japanese attempts at expansion. So it's Innis doing a World War II story, and that's really all you need to know. Mm-hmm. And he's taking on a theater of war that hasn't really addressed much before. And the artwork looks absolutely stunning and right on the nose, as always, when it comes to historical authenticity. So I cannot wait to read this. I mean,
yeah.
God, I'm so excited. A new Innis World War II story. Oh.
And an oversized 4-issue prestige format to go with it.
Awesome.
4 issues of that. Yeah, it's I know that Ennis can tell an excellent war story, but it's the setting here, as you said, Chris. This kind of underrepresented theater of the World War
Yeah.
II conflict that really interests me the most.
Although I misspoke. Actually, Australia wasn't involved in this. They were more in New Guinea. But anyway, that's just me flatulating historically. But yeah, I'm so excited to read this.
Yeah.
Again, I've mentioned before, he's basically single-handedly revived the war comic genre in comics. So
no question.
Wow. Oh, God, I'm so excited for that. All
right. Was there anything else you wanted to call out, Chris? We could always
because again, I unfortunately don't have as much time to look at the previews this month as in previous months, but as always, I like to go to tomorrow's,
but
just because they always deserve that. But
well, you know what? We'll just go ahead and go straight to it, and then we'll bounce back.
You can double back, yeah.
But of course, all right, here we are.
Yeah, sorry, I have to peel back the curtain. I have to run out and do some late night family grocery shopping.
No worries.
So,
all right.
Otherwise, we won't have any eggs in the morning.
Oh well, that would be a absolute tragic. But understood completely. I luckily have a 24-hour store down the block from me, but that's the luxuries of New York there.
Indeed. I just want to mention Alter Ego 175, especially because I know, and if Pantswear and also Murd, it's all about the All-Star Squadron of the 1980s.
Right. Roy Thomas and his artistic collaborators there. Looks like there's going to be some artwork, including some covers from issues of that series that never saw print.
Yeah.
I know
you're a longtime fan of that, Murd.
If it could have survived, if Earth 2 could have survived a couple more years, he would have taken the All-Star Squadron in some interesting directions. My understanding is he planned to diverge from real-world World War II history in some pretty significant ways.
Yeah, so that's, again, I just always like to be effusive in my praise of this company and all the wonderful work they do to further our knowledge of the many, ins and outs, and a lot of like the nooks and crannies we wouldn't think of the history of the American comic book. So it's such a vital publication. On the next page, they're offering in a lot of great stuff. So the Batcave Companion, if you're a Batman fan, that is an essential reference guide. I can't recommend this book enough. When I had the shop, I always had copies in stock. It's sold. Like there's always people who are interested in it, especially during sales and things like that. Tomorrow's did a whole series of companion books. I think they even dared to tackle Hawkman at one point.
There's the Krypton Companion.
Krypton Companion. Yep. I think they did Flash too, if I remember correctly. Maybe possibly also Teen Titans is one that I think about it, but they're all great. So if you can find back copies or go to the Tomorrow's site, that maybe they still have back copies. I haven't looked, but really great. These companions are wonderful, and I can't recommend them enough. So, all right, gentlemen, I got to go do my little bit of shopping.
All righty, sir.
We'll speak on. I got my Spider-Man ticket. Ryan got it for me as we speak while we're doing this discussion. So I'm good to go for this weekend. We'll talk about that. And look, keep an eye on your mailboxes, brothers. Keep an eye on your mailboxes.
Certainly shall, and much appreciated.
Yes. Thanks, Chris.
Well, we'll reveal what I'm talking about in a future episode as well.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
All right, brothers. Sleep tight. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Ciao.
Good night, Chris.
All right, so it's you and me, Murd.
Well, he goes off to get the eggs. We're gonna bring home the bacon here, and
hell yeah,
back half of this episode.
Damn right. And I managed to get back to just about exactly where we left off. So let's go a little bit further down here and see what works. I don't even know if this is anything that I would even care about, but let's just laugh at Defective Comics Annual One Shot, page 215. Dave Sim loves making fun of everything, and I just adore the idea of defective comics. That's just a great way to roll with it.
He has put together some pretty strong parody covers over the past few years. What's between those covers, I have no idea. But
exactly, yep. But this is definitely stellar work here with Defective Comics on 216. All right, what else we got?
Okay, we've gotten back to where we had been a moment ago.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here is some more African created content here with Land of the Living Gods, another series from Aftershock, which delves into the field of Afrofuturism.
Excellent.
Blended with some African tribal mythology.
Very cool. Art by Santos, writing by Isaac Magahane, and that's on 224. Gets the A+ recommendation, and I like what I see in the following pages as well. And then the Lollipop Kids on 226 by Adam Glass and Aiden Glass, art by Diego Yapor. It's a new Seismic Press edition. When immigrants came to the New World, they didn't only bring their hopes and dreams, they also brought monsters. Years ago, early settlers locked these monsters away in a secret prison deep in the woods of New Amsterdam so that they never would return to the old world. Those woods have become Central Park, and now the monsters have escaped. Enough said. It's an OGN. This also features the entire original series issues 1 through 5, and published in the YA category standard size of 6.5 by 9.5. So we go digest with this one on 226. And I like what I see.
Looks like it might be a father-son collaboration there.
Indeed. It's all in the family, baby. Shock Treatment gets the Prestige format trade paperback on 232 from the likes of Cullen Bunn, Aaron Douglas, and Peter Milligan, with art by Piotr Kowalski, Simon Kudransky, and Cliff Richards. It collects the popular one-shots all together in one collection on page 232, and of note, this is coming out in March, not in February. You know what, actually, let's see. Has Love Gone Wrong have an actual solicitation, or is it just, nah, guess not. Well, let's keep moving.
Now here on page 238, American Mythology has something really worthwhile to offer us. It's a reprinting of something from 1972. It's an adaptation of a little-known Edgar Rice Burroughs story called Beyond the Farthest Star, which was serialized as a backup in some issues of DC's Tarzan series. It's got work in here from Marv Wolfman, Denny O'Neil, and Robert Kanigher, and artists Dan Green, Howard Chaykin, Murphy Anderson, and Rudy Florces. And it's the first time it's been reprinted in a while.
Oh,
50
my God.
years here, it says.
Wow. That's awesome.
So, yes, that is a thing of value that American Mythology is offering us.
Absolutely. Wow. Yeah, no, I love it when something like this, sees print for the first time in that many years, especially from creators like this. Whew. Man. Beyond the Farthest Star.
Yep. Yours for a mere $3.99.
Excellent. And moving on a bit here. Let's go with page 244. Spectrumon Heroes, number 1 of 5. Hiroshi Kanatame on the story and also on the artwork, along with Matt Frank. Antarctic Press, in conjunction with P Productions and Phase 6, is proud to announce Spectrumon Heroes, a nostalgia blast of retro Japanese live-action super beings. Each issue will showcase a different character in their own full-length story, with art by luminaries such as Matt Frank of Godzilla Legends, Hiroshi Kanatare of Coraptor, and Ben Dunn of Ninja High School. And in this particular issue, police agent Yutaka Daimon commands the mighty Electroid Zaborger, riding its motorcycle mode into battle against the criminal Sigma gang. This is Sentai out the wazoo, and I had to mention it. I'm sure that our friend Julian Lytle is probably drooling over this.
Is this character known to you, Ian? The Electroid Zaborger?
Absolutely not. But it's Sentai. It's Japanese live action. It's basically the superheroes of Japan, and that's kind of all I need to make me happy.
There's a character on that variant cover that appears to be launching her fist at the end of a chain at some unseen foe. That's a cool visual.
Absolutely the case. Yep. Good stuff. I think I'm just going to keep this expanded here because that is very hard to read. Let's head up to 246 for Archie Love and Heartbreak, shall we? More modern Archie action.
Sure. Followed by a dose of Archie classic. I'm glad that Archie is continuing to provide both approaches to fans of both classic Archie and new wave Archie.
Absolutely. 246 has Love and Heartbreak, and then 247 has the Archie's Valentine Spectacular.
And featuring the good girl art of Dan Parent.
Excellent. Oh, you know what? Actually, funny enough, Neonomicon is mentioned here, and since you just mentioned it, Murd, it's got a brand new printing here on 254. So anyone who had not checked it out, it is now re-available for anybody who would like to.
Yep. So I don't know if my review really is going to inspire anyone to want to read this story, but the option is there.
Exactly.
I have good authority from one of our listeners via Facebook that Providence is actually a bit of a better read, and it's more of an interesting engagement between Moore and the Lovecraft body of work.
Excellent. Well, both of those have their new printings, and they're there for you on 254. So Neonomicon if you want to, Providence for probably something a little bit better. Al Madrigal. Wow. Page 260. Al Madrigal of Daily Show fame and many a sitcom over the years, writing this along with Carlo Barberi, writing a Latinx hero for the 21st century. Centuries ago, two Mayan brothers constructed a spacecraft that sent them hurling into outer space, returned to Earth only to find their culture and civilization destroyed. One of the brothers vows revenge and seeks to decimate the planet with intergalactic technology gathered on his travels. To prevent this, his sibling creates a contingency plan that activates the world's protectors, three descendants of their own family who have been granted great power. Now the fate of the universe lies in the hands of three cousins scattered throughout Central and North America who have never met. That is a pretty cool concept, with a pretty cool cover to go along with it as well. And once again, any of you who are a fan of Al Madrigal, now you get to read his writing in comic book form. So there we go.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm. Always love it when it looks like actors are going in whole hog. Like it's not just, oh, hey, I'm an actor and now I'm writing a comic. Like, no, clearly the passion is there for this one.
And they would probably like it to be a movie eventually.
More than likely, yeah. The trade paperbacks for Fight Girls and Not All Robots and Marjorie Finnegan, Temporal Criminal, are also listed on page 263, and these are all worth your time for various reasons. Frank Cho on Fight Girls, writing and artwork. Mark Russell and Mike Deodato Jr. on the writing and artwork for Not All Robots. And Garth Ennis himself with Garin Suzuka on Marjorie Finnegan, Temporal Criminal. So 3 well worth of trades back to back to back on 263. Let's go to Binge Books, shall we, on 268. Startup number 1, Starting Point. Craig Rousseau on artwork and a cover by the one and only Sal Buscema.
Written by somebody, we assume.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it says Darren Henry in the text here, who apparently wrote for Seinfeld.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so they must have just accidentally left his name out of the writing credit there, because you're right, he is in the solicitation. Darren Henry and Craig Rousseau combined their titanic talents to bring you the most original origin story in superheroic history. Interesting. let's see how that.
An eyebrow and skepticism, but
exactly. Yep. A very Dwayne the Rock Johnson eyebrow raise to this one, but 268 was drawn by the cover more than anything else. But hey, it's Seinfeld writing talent there for you, so I'm sure it's going to be funny. All right. Valentine's Special by Paul Shand of Destiny, New York. The first Destiny New York one-shot, writer Paul Shand tells 3 stories of love, yearning, and romance set in a world where magic is a real and accepted part of everyday life. Cool concept out of Black Mass there.
Sounds appealing.
For page 272. And Destiny New York is an ongoing at Black Mask otherwise, so do check that out. How about this on 279? Edgar Allan Poe's The Conqueror Worm one-shot. Written by Edgar Allan Poe. Art by Clara Meath. It's a visual adaptation of Poe's famous text, Throngs of Angels Gather to Witness a Metaphysical Performance of Good and Evil. That could be interesting.
Yeah, sounds like a much straighter take on Poe than you'll get out of, say, Ahoy Comics' Snifter of Blood.
Certainly the case, yep. Bit more to the point here.
Yep, so if you are a hardcore Poe fan, here's a visual interpretation of one of his less frequently adapted stories.
Absolutely. Let's go to the very next page, 280. Those Who Helped Us, Assisting Japanese Americans During the War. Graphic novel by Ken Mochizuki. Art by Kiku Hughes. Basketball-loving Sumiku Tanaka, then 11, narrates this graphic novel about the World War II incarceration of Japanese Americans. Through her eyes, we watch as her family is forced from their home and subjected to indiscriminate racism as they are shipped off to the concentration camp called Minidoka in Idaho. But Sumiko and her 17-year-old sister Yuri also see acts of charity and solidarity from their non-Japanese neighbors and friends in the Seattle area that make them hopeful for the future. Slice of life and very dark time in our country brought forward here by Chin Music Press.
Yep. Seems like a good companion piece to George Takei's graphic memoir on the subject from a year or two ago.
Yep, very good point. And once again, it's on page 280. And Those Who Helped Us, Assisting Japanese Americans During the War. Christoph Beck, 281. Sunlight. 3 young friends who are passionate about caving decide to explore the ruins of an abandoned mine. They discover, bathed in the light of dawn, a surreal setting to explore. As soon as they enter, they take a dizzying fall through a poorly sealed well. Now trapped at the bottom of an abyss, not a ray of light reaches. They have only one thing to do: wait for help and survive. Victims of their anxiety, they begin to lose their bearings. Fear and madness set in, making it impossible to discern reality from illusion. This sounds messed up.
Yeah, that could be terrifying.
Also sounds like it's waiting to be a movie, to be entirely honest with you. 281.
Yeah, I get that same vibe from it, Ian. Yeah.
Sunlight, Christoph Beck and Bernard Katu. Very nice artwork, though, on the preview.
Oh, sure.
Right, scrolling down past Dynamic Forces. And we get to... I swear Halloween was a little while ago, and yet we're getting a lot of horror stuff for February. 293, Took, a ghost story. Mary Downing Hahn and Jen Vaughn. They say that a ghost witch lives in the woods. up on the hill. They say her companion has a pig skull for a face and stands taller than a man, his skeleton gleaming in the moonlight. They say that the witch takes young girls and no one else ever sees them again. Daniel doesn't believe these stories. I'm sure that's going to go well for him. Took a ghost story. 293.
Yep.
And then just because I'm on a roll here, how about the complete covers of Eerie Publications? 297.
The
And
Whole
Enterprise.
Bloody Mess. That's a good subtitle.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And Eerie had some damn good covers. Now here they are for every one of you to check out.
240 pages of them.
Love it. That's 297 right there.
Ooh, and at the bottom of that same page, there's a graphic novel presenting the history of pinball.
Ah, nice. Yeah,
It's recommended for fans of Box Brown's Tetris and the documentary King of Kong.
Well, that is definitely my wheelhouse.
Including a scene of courtroom drama in which a pinball champion named Roger Sharp actually started playing pinball in the middle of a Manhattan courtroom to demonstrate that pinball is a game of skill and not chance, and therefore doesn't deserve to be subjected to a ban in New York, as part of anti-gambling laws.
Fascinating. Okay, all right. This is getting the mental pin. That's well sold there, Murd. Well sold.
Yep, and I'll tell you what, if they come out with a softcover edition of that same thing, I will join you in.
Excellent. You will join me in being a pinball wizard.
Yep. There has to be a twist, though, and that twist is a paperback edition. That costs about $10 less.
Of course. The Aquanaut on page 302. Nice all ages comic here, and it looks adorable. Dan Sennett dive into the whimsically adventurous graphic novel. Ever since her father was lost at sea, Sophia has been moping around Aqualand, a marine theme park. But Sophia's world is turned upside down when an Aquanaut breaks into the park's research lab. To her amazement, Sophia discovers that the Aquanaut is not what it seems. Inside lives a band of goofy sea creatures, and hilarity ensues. That sounds really, really cute. 302.
Yep.
Bob Fingerman Pariah Redux. That looks interesting.
Yeah, I think he's the same guy who did the minimum wage series that Image was publishing a little while ago.
Oh, okay. All right, that's cool. 304. Go ahead.
You know, that cover... Mob Psycho guy from the manga section is haunting my dreams now, because when I see that cover, I just see his dead eyes staring back at me now.
You are 100% right. Well, they tell us that this takes cues from Scorsese, Neil Simon, Woody Allen, and more. So that has me intrigued. In a truly dire survivor's tale, capturing the desperation and resolve of its desperate cast. But literally now all I can think of is Mob Psycho. So.
Sorry, I've communicated my madness to you, Ian.
Nah, by all means. Still, though, it does look really interesting, and I may have to check it out on 304. And also a graphic interpretation of Alicia Keys' "Girl on Fire" directly next to that by Harper Alley. They're bringing the song to life in a coming-of-age young adult graphic novel. Yeah, they don't have a cover for it yet, but
I was going to say the sample art isn't exactly helping to sell it, but I like the idea.
Absolutely, yeah. Let me see if since then any sample art has come out. But I'm always intrigued by songs that have then been turned into graphic novels.
Yep, that's the second one we're seeing this issue, actually.
Mm-hmm.
There's that thing by the Clay people back under Image.
Yep.
Colossus.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any. Fortunately, still not seeing any art online for it yet. But if and when I do find it, I will certainly point it out. But few and far between on that at the moment. Whole lot of cover to be revealed. Oh well. All right, move it forward here. Johnny Hazard, the Sunday Archives, I'll mention in passing. Full-size tabloid of Frank Robbins' old Sunday comics of Johnny Hazard on page 305.
Fun fact, Johnny Hazard was young James Robinson's idea of the innovation of cool.
I could kind of see that in the portrayal there. Nice. And then on Humanoids on 306, Tim Seeley's Chronophage gets collected here. All about a single mother who becomes involved with a mysterious man who consumes moments of her life, leading her to question her choices and whether they can or should be undone. It's our second Tim Seeley of the month. Elias Kriazis on the art, and a forward by the one and only Tom King.
Oh, wow.
That's on 306. And some great artwork there on preview, page 307. Creepy, creepy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You want the official coloring book for Batman? Inside Editions has it on page 309. You get to color Batman. You. That's right, you.
Officially.
Not just unofficially. Not just with a black and white photocopier at the office or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's jump forward to page 315 and World Class, original graphic novel by Jay Sandlin with Patrick Mulholland and Rebecca Nalty on the artwork. When a football scout offers Diego Molina a full scholarship to an elite prep school in London, the news seems too good to be true. His enrollment hits a snag upon meeting the team's star striker, Titan Evans.
Yep, that's a human being's name, sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, it's not. Titan is everything Adrian is not. Powerful, connected, and with a hunger to dominate the school as well as the pitch. A constant fighting, teasing, and bullying bring about crippling anxiety of losing his spot on the team. That's until Luciano de Silva takes him under his wing and gives Adrian the confidence to be himself and value his position on the team. I don't even care if this is a good book or not. It has the best names I've heard in recent memory. You know, like Diego Molina, Titan Evans, Luciano de Silva.
And to be clear, this is a story about the soccer version of football as opposed to the football version of football. So
you are 100% correct. Yes. European football.
Yes, decided European flavor.
Definitely. Alrighty. Woman Discoverers, Top Women in Science on page 319. For any of you who want to spread the love on female scientists, they've got you covered. Christelle Picot and Marie Moinard on page 319.
Yep, I was wondering if Hedy Lamarr would be included, and sure enough, there she is.
Excellent.
Yes, the woman who created the foundation of what is now Wi-Fi.
Amazing.
Yep. She did this in like the 30s and 40s.
Yeah, and that it was of all people, Hedy Lamarr, who most people probably know much better as an actress.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
yep, had a lot more going for her than just that. Right next to it, by the way, MBM has a Rosa Parks graphic novel that I'll spotlight as well. Maria Paola Pesci and Matteo Mancini putting together the story of Rosa Parks. That's all on page 319 as a reminder. For all my wrestling fans, on page 322, Agents of Slam. The wrestling comic of the year is coming. Dave Scheidt and Scoot McMahon. I doubt he's that McMahon. Just off the top of my head. No relation to Vince McMahon whatsoever. I can almost guarantee it. But the Agents of Slam aren't your average professional wrestlers. They're led by the fearless and famous Bruno Bravado and work for the President of the United States to protect people from all kinds of threats, both on Earth and in space. Make this an animated series immediately. I will watch the heck out of it.
I don't know. Bruno Bravado might be giving Titan Evans a run for his money as far as
that is
best
fair
character of this issue of previews.
You are not wrong there, and I can't wait to see what SLAM stands for. Let's see if they came up with the acronym first, and then what it stands for second, like they did SHIELD back in the day. Very, very cute, funny, silly artwork to follow on 323 for it. Yep, still plenty of Rick and Morty out of Oni. So for now, It stays where it stays. Is the Casa Grandes a Loud House crossover, or at least a spinoff of any sort, Murd?
That is exactly what it is, Ian. Actually, the character kind of right above the girl in the foreground waving, that's the boyfriend of one of the Loud siblings from the Loud House.
Okay.
And the girl in the foreground was also a supporting character and kind of a love interest for the main character, Lincoln Loud. But then they spun her whole family off. They moved to the big city of Great Lakes City, and they live together with their large extended familia in an apartment above the family Mercado.
Nice.
And that's the premise. It's generally not as good nor as popular as the Loud House is, but they're still making graphic novels about it at paper cuts.
All right. Well, that's a shame, but at the same time, glad that they're getting their stuff out there. 329. All right. We're getting there. And boy, oh boy, did we get here on page 335. Jerry Siegel and Don Avenell, The Spider, Crime Unlimited. That's a name right there.
These long-lost and fast-paced pulp adventure stories have never been reprinted before, written by Siegel, sure enough.
Yep.
With an assist from Don Avenell.
Yeah. No, that's something. I mean, we seem to be seeing a lot of these archival stuff. This previews in particular, seeing the light of day after many years of not seeing the light of day. So good to see. And then Red 5 Comics has Fictionauts. Maro Mantella and Leonardo Riso. They battled Moby Dick, matched wits with Dickens, and befriended a kingdom of evolved sea monkeys. They're the genre-hopping heroes of Hyper City, the Fictionauts. Fantasy is a serious business for this team as they scour fictional worlds to right dangerous anomalies and preserve the balance between reality and imagination. That is the best premise.
It's pretty good, yeah.
336 for that one.
Yeah, it's kind of like I don't know, the Challengers of the Unknown meets the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Good way to put it. Yep. definitely. So we scroll further down here and come closer and closer to catching up with ourselves. Let's see if we have any further picks of note. Christmas Caroline, annual number 1. From the team that brought you Good Boy, Garrett Gunn and Christiana Blanc. Art by Kim Wallace. It's the art that struck me here. Kind of Gorillas-esque in the way it's presented. Yep. 349. A disavowed elf seeks revenge for the murder of her brother at the hands of Saint Nick. Well then, taking Christmas dark.
Yeah, and I do tend to prefer my Christmas comics with a little less gore in them, but at least they had the good taste to wait until February to publish this.
Very good point. Yes. I'm not quite sure how well it would have went over if it was right in the middle of the season.
I don't think they would have found quite as receptive an audience for it.
Indeed. And I'll mention the Cowboy Bebop series, issue 3 of 4 coming out. Cowboy Bebop has been canceled.
I don't know. Are you rejoicing or disappointed or just kind of neutral?
I'm neutral. I haven't watched it yet. I was planning on getting to it eventually, fully expecting that there would be a second season to go with it eventually, since I heard that it kind of ends on a very much of a cliffhanger note. But Netflix decided it was either too expensive or just not worth moving forward, and that was that. But I heard another way of putting it, and it may be closer to the truth, is that Netflix has had some turnover with the executives. And if there's one thing we know more than anything else, is that when new executives come in, previous executives' darlings get canceled. So that may have very well been the case. Yep. So it goes. Maybe they will continue it via comics, for all we know.
Seems like a good idea to me. I'm sure Titan would be all for it.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. One more tomorrows to mention. They're offering again back issue number 130, and a whole bunch of Bronze Age promos, ads, and gimmicks on display here. All from the likes of Mike W. Barr, Busiek, Glenn Herding, Paul Levitz, Kevin McGuire, Jimmy Palmiotti, and many, many more. So if you did not check out this back issue number 130 when it was available the last time, it is available for you again here on page 362. Dan Abnett by Ray. Ray by Dan Abnett, that is, the deluxe hardcover on page 367. If you didn't check it out, this collects all 10 issues of Ray, as well as Fallen World number 1 through 5, Ray, the History of the Valiant Universe number 1, and material from Bloodshot, the 2019 Free Comic Book Day special, along with 20 plus pages of rarely seen art and extras. Did not check this out the first time around, but it's Abnett, so it's bound to be good.
And the art by Juan Jose Rip and Adam Polina, formerly of 90s X-Force. Is nothing to sneeze at either. I think I have at least a couple of issues of this in my collection. I mean, there was a later volume with art by Clayton Crane that I followed a little more closely, but it is, you're absolutely right, Ian. This is a very good creative team.
Yeah, definitely. Yep, and that's on 367 there if you're looking to check it out. And Valiant continues to put out great stuff.
Just not quite as much of it as they used to.
Indeed. How's this for 371? John Sway and Stacy Lee, Fox and Hare, number 1. It's a new Vault comic. When black market coder Aurora Yee uncovers top secret data that has tapped into the past lives of the citizens of Mazu Bay, her world is turned upside down. Interesting premise. Very, very manga inspired. You can tell by the looks of it. Yep. And seems like it's an anime waiting to happen.
Yep, like the design of the title characters there. Yeah, and this is it's a resolicit. I'm sure we've seen Fox and Hare in this catalog before.
Probably. more than likely. As is the case with many things in the past couple of months. Things don't always come out when they are supposed to.
Yep. No sector of commerce has been unaffected.
And 375 has the collection of the last book you'll ever read, by Colin Bunn, and that's great. And I'm sorry, it's not the collection. It's issue 7. They didn't exactly make that very clear. Oh well.
Yep, you got to go all the way to the bottom of the page to see the issue numbers. Just the way they choose to roll.
Yep. As usual, not a fan of layout. What a shock. Okay, I think that's it until manga for me. Anything before then for you, sir?
No, I don't believe so.
Okie dokie. Well then, we're gonna get there, but I am definitely choosing Deadpool as a manga as one of my many things. But first, because we mentioned Mob Psycho, there he is.
Yes, you've ruined us, Mob Psycho. Get out of our heads.
Seriously. Get out of previews, too. Enough already. Page 393, Deadpool Samurai, Volume 1. Story by Sanshiro Kasama, art by Hikaru Usugi. And this is everyone's favorite merc with a mouth in Tokyo, where he soon runs afoul of some familiar faces. This looks cool.
It does at that.
Yeah. And mind you, some of my favorite Deadpool art over the years has been Japanese inspired or just straight out by Japanese creators. So I think, when Gail Simone was writing Deadpool, it certainly had very much of a manga flair to it. Now we just get straight up manga from Deadpool. So this could be well worth the read.
Oh, and it says down here that a future volume will feature a Deadpool My Hero Academia crossover.
Oh man! All right, yeah, that's breaking the fourth wall in the right ways. Nice. Page 395. Viz has came the Mirror and Other Tales. 5 intimate magic realist tales from manga legend Rumiko Takahashi. It's a supernatural mirror compels a teenager to draw out and destroy the evil lurking within others. But will his duty destroy him? And a bunch of other tales. So a manga anthology on 395 with Twilight Zone bent to it.
Yep, and it's from Takahashi, who is one of few manga creators whose name I actually recognize because I've read a good chunk of Ranma in my time.
Yep, and inducted into the Eisner Hall of Fame and the Harvey Awards Hall of Fame in 2021. Excellent. All right, and I'll find one last one, and then I believe we can call it a day. And shock of shocks, my brain immediately goes to page 401 for New York. New York policy officer Kane, while hiding that he's gay, goes out every night in Manhattan in want of a one-night stand. But when he meets his ideal man, Mel, he finds the love of his life, an ambitious work which depicts love and humanism with gay themes. How about them apples?
How about it?
Indeed. Page 401. Yen Press got it for us. And I think that's it for me. How about you?
Yep, I feel content.
Excellent.
Yep, not going to shout out any swag this time because I haven't really seen that part of the book anyway.
Excellent. Well, in that case, I won't try to look at it either because then I'm just going to want to buy stuff, and I'm not in the mood because I just spent too much money in Philly this last weekend anyway. So that is that with that, sir. And as usual, we have made the magic happen. And we soldiered it out.
Yes, we did. Our medals of honor are in the mail, I'm sure.
Most definitely the case. Yep. And thank you, the listeners, for sticking with us. And Thank you for those who support us as well over at patreon.com/comicgeekspeak. We would be nothing without you and your continued support of the show, especially as we approach this new year. We'll have a whole new year of stuff to give you sooner than later. Stay tuned.
Yep. Maybe we'll even start using that studio that you help us pay for in the near future.
That would be delightful. If only we could keep it working.
It's just, the instant we turn our backs on it, it's like sproing. You can practically hear it all the way up in the Bronx. Things going wrong.
I swear to God, Murd, there are demons that live in that facility that just like come in when we're not looking. Either that or like it's like Toy Story and like there's toys that come to life the minute that we leave and they're immediately like, quick, let's screw with the wiring. Like
it's what we get for displaying very lifelike action figures on the shelves behind the mic setup. We're just begging for something like that to happen.
Exactly. All right, sir. Ready to play the role of Shane?
Mm-hmm. I will play it to the hilt.
All right, excellent. The floor is yours.
If you'd like to send us an email, the address is comicgeekspeak@gmail.com. If you'd like to leave a voicemail, you can call 267-702-6642. We'd love to hear your voice. You can follow us on Twitter. Our handle there is @ComicGeekSpeak. You can like us on Facebook and also join our Comic Geek Speak supergroup there, where you can talk back about this and many other episodes of the show and just start talk threads about various geeky subjects with your fellow CGS listeners. You can go to the comicforums.vanillacommunity.com, our original online forum, where you can do much the same things I just described. You can go to youtube.com/ComicGeekSpeak, where you can see video versions of many of our episodes, including this one. It's the best way to follow along with our little romp through the previews catalog every single month, and thanks as always to Ian for helping to put that together visually. You can and we'd like to give special thanks as always to those of you who have donated to the show monetarily, whether by Patreon or PayPal or whatever payment method or platform you prefer. We truly appreciate it, and the show would not be what it is today without your support. And as always, we are uniting the world's mightiest heroes, one listener at a time.